Today's video is a collab with Stress Acne. It's only week 3 of university and I'm already stressed out. Hey guys, what is up? It's HVL Manga here and welcome back to the YouTube channel. Now guys, today is a very exciting day. It is time for yet another manga collection video. I like to do these videos once every quarter or so just because genuinely my collection changes that much over a course of a couple months. So I like to have this for my records and to keep you guys posted, so let's not delay. I will say if you want a little bit more information and details, you know, what are my shelves, how many volumes, how long have I been collecting, wait to the end of today's video where kind of in the outro I'll go over all of those details. So let's not delay. Let's get right into it. This is my manga collection as of September 2021. Okay, first starting off here, this is kind of my Dark Horse Deluxe shelf. I don't know why I decided to put all my heaviest books on the same shelf and even on the top shelf at that, but here we are anyways. So first up, I have Blade of the Immortal in the Dark Horse Deluxe editions, volumes 1 through 3. This is currently up to date. I love Blade of the Immortal. This story follows our main character here who teams up with this younger girl on a path of revenge. This is a really good samurai story, a lot of action, a lot of gore, a lot of fighting. It's great. I will say this does read in your, I guess, normal left to right format instead of obviously right to left, which is very interesting, and it definitely takes a little bit of time to get used to. Like, I found myself trying to read, you know, I guess the typical way that you would read a manga, so just be aware of that. I don't think that takes away from how good the story is, so I do definitely recommend this read if you haven't given it a shot already. Okay, so moving on, this is kind of my little Berserk shrine. Berserk, if you know me at all, is my favorite manga series of all time. It is such a beautifully done piece of literature by Kentaro Miura. May he rest in peace. So I currently have Berserk volumes 1 through 8. This is currently up to date in the Dark Horse Deluxe editions. I genuinely think this is a great way to collect Berserk. Although they are a little bit more pricey, I love having the art on a larger format. I really think it does the art justice. This is just a dark fantasy story. I mean, everyone knows about it. It is just such a beautifully done story. And then in that, I forgot exactly what this is. Let me look real quick. Okay, so yeah, this is the Berserk Written in the Darkness book. This is like an actual book. I know, scary, not a lot of pictures. But I think this really just kind of goes into more detail about the lore of Berserk and different, you know, choices, you know, why Miura did what he did for certain stories and for certain themes. I found this at Barnes & Noble and I was like, I don't really know what this is, but it's Berserk and I'm gonna support. So I picked that up. I haven't gotten to it yet, but I definitely am planning on getting to it. And then in front here, I just have a fake plant because I can't keep real ones alive. A little crocheted turtle. I have no idea why he's by Berserk, but he is the cutest thing. And then I also have a Guts glass painting. So that is kind of my Berserk shrine. It deserves it because it is that good. Okay, moving down, first up I have another fake plant here and then a light Yagami Nendroid. You'll see some figures and Nendroids scattered throughout, but behind that I have Vagabond in the Vizbig editions, volumes 1 through 4, and then a random volume 11. I've read 1 through 4 and this series is really, really good. It basically follows our main character here on spine number 1 as he wants to become the strongest samurai and warrior in all of the land. I would say it's a pretty common story. I really think Vagabond stands apart because it's based on a true story, and also the art is immaculate. You guys already know. So I'm definitely going to be picking up more volumes of this. I just quite haven't gotten around to it yet. Next, moving on, I have a manga series that needs absolutely no introduction. That is Death Note in the Black Editions, volumes 1 through 6. I truly believe this is the best way to collect Death Note. I love having it in a larger format, especially because this series, we all know, it has a lot more text than a lot of other series do. So having a larger format definitely helps with the reading experience, and I also just love how ooh, that is tight in there. I also love the black pages. I think it's just a really clean, really nice look. I've read all of these. This was one of the first manga series that I ever picked up, so definitely has a lot of sentimental value to me, but this is also just freaking good. You all know. It needs no explanation. Okay, moving on, I have, I call it a one-shot. I don't think it's technically a one-shot, but I have All You Need Is Kill, which is done by the same mangaka as Death Note. This is a really good one-shot. It basically follows the same premise as The Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise, which is a, you know, Western film. So if you've ever seen that, that's what this is about. And I always encourage people to give this a shot, and I also think this is a great introduction into manga. So if you're trying to get someone into manga, obviously keep, you know, their preferences of genres and all that stuff, you know, in mind. But I think this is a great introduction into manga. You know, it's one volume, you buy it, and you're done, you're good to go. And it also was just really good. The art was great. Overall, just a really, really good read. Okay, so moving on, I have a little bit of a JoJo's shrine going on. So first up, I have Fist of the North Star Volume 1. This read, to me, was just funny. Like, it's not supposed to be funny, but to me it was just kind of funny. It's basically about our main character, Ken, just going around being an absolute Chad. Like, he's just going around, just beating people up, doing his thing, being super OP. The only context I knew of this story before I got this volume was the You're Already Dead meme. You guys already know, but this is actually, you know, a lot of the inspiration behind the JoJo story, so that's really why I decided to pick it up. I will also say, I think the cover and the release of this is really well done. Like, this looks just freaking clean, and kind of like the manga panels in the back, so they did a really good job with this release. Okay, so moving on, we have my very small start and humble beginnings of my JoJo's collection. So I have part 1 and part 2. I've read both of these parts. Part 2 is significantly better in my opinion than part 1, but part 1 did provide a lot of context. JoJo's, could I really describe the premise to you? Really, I couldn't, but it still is a really genuinely good read. I just recently got into this and I can't believe I slept on it for as long as I did. I am planning on picking up the rest of the volumes, part, 3, 4, and now part 5, but obviously these volumes are not the cheapest, so we'll see when I do that, but I am loving JoJo so far. And then back here, I also have a Dio Brando pin. I love Dio, one of my favorite characters. Also, I also love Joseph. Regardless, and then I also have a art book that I just got from Kinokuniya. Yeah, I don't know, I like art books, they're cool to look at, and it's just, I don't know, the art is really good. So, that is the second shelf. Okay, so moving down, I have Dorohedoro Volumes 1 through 22. Unfortunately not complete. I'm truly convinced that Volume 23 does not freaking exist. I have been on the hunt for that volume for forever, and it doesn't exist. So, Dorohedoro is one of my favorite reads. I think it's in my number 4 spot, if I'm remembering correctly. I did a top 10s video recently. I'll make sure to put that in the description box down below so you guys can check it out. But Dorohedoro is a very good, very gritty read. It basically follows our main character, Cayman, here displayed on Volume 1, as he tries to figure out why the heck he was turned into a lizard man, who killed him, why did they kill him, why is he a lizard man, and just basically following the whole mystery behind that. This is a very gritty, very dark read, but it's a very, very good seinen. So if you're looking for a new seinen, I would highly encourage you guys to get into this. Yeah, but just be aware that some of these volumes are kind of out of stock. I think volume 13 might be another one, but I read up to volume 15, I believe, and I have been waiting on volume 23 to get back into it, but honestly, I might just have to read it because who knows when that's gonna happen. Okay, moving on, I have another one of my favorite reads recently, and that is Ikigami, The Ultimate Limit, Volumes 1 through 10. This is complete. Ikigami is basically about the society where the authority in this society decided that at a certain age, every kid is going to be getting a shot. And basically in these shots, 1 out of 1,000 of them contain a capsule that stops their heart at a certain age. And they did this to try and promote, like, live your life to the fullest. This story follows our main character going around and delivering these ikigamis, which are basically these death papers saying that these people are going to die within 24 hours. This is a very interesting read. It was a quick read, so it really didn't take a whole lot of my time, which I obviously appreciate. I'm not trying to read, a novel here. But it was also just interesting to read about how people respond to, you're gonna die in 24 hours. Like, what do you do with that time? So, this is a really good read. I definitely recommend it. It's only 10 volumes, so it's not crazy, it's not super crazy long. I think this is, I hate using the word underrated, but I think this is very underrated. Okay, moving on. This is a series that okay. I tend to have a rule in my collection where I try to only have volumes in consecutive order because obviously I like to read my stuff, but Real is kind of an exception to that rule. So I have Real volumes 2 through 4 and then 7 and 11. Real is a sports manga focused on wheelchair basketball. Obviously I haven't gotten into it yet because I don't have frickin' volume 1, but the thing with Real is that a lot of the earlier volumes are super out of stock right now. So for me, Real is one of those things where when I find volumes for good prices, I pick them up. So I'm definitely waiting on that volume 1 still, and obviously I'm missing a lot of, later volumes as well, but I'm excited to get into this. I've only heard good things, and the art is spectacular. I've looked through it a little bit, so I will collect the rest of this eventually. I just don't know when that'll happen because We are currently in the out of stock crisis, and then in front of Real, I just have two Lego Harry Potter figures. These have literally been here for so long, like, so long. Okay, so next moving on, I'm kind of getting into some of my Shonen Jump titles. You'll notice my collection is kind of set up where my taller Viz Sigs and more, I guess, deluxe volumes are higher on the shelf, and then my Shonen Jump titles are bottom, you know, at the bottom of the shelves. Don't really know why I decided to do that, but I did. Regardless, I have Black Clover Volumes 1 through 26 currently up to date, and I also have a Yuno figure in front. I think it's just a Ben Presto figure. To be honest, I don't really know. I'm not super knowledgeable with figures, but I thought he looked freaking cool, and Yuno is definitely one of my favorite characters in this series. So Black Clover is a really good read. It follows our main character Asta, who lives in this world where there's magic, you know, wizards and fantasy. I mean, it's just that whole sort of aspect, but our main character Asta, he unfortunately doesn't have any magic. So how is he going to become the greatest wizard of them all without any magic? And it basically just follows his story throughout Black Clover. I'm currently on volume 10, I believe, and I genuinely really do enjoy Black Clover. It's definitely not the greatest thing that I've ever read, but it still is a really fun read, and I'm really glad that I'm able to be caught up to date with it. Okay, next moving on, I have one of my more favorite reads recently, and that is some volumes of Siren. So Siren is an older Shonen Jump title, and I think, again, I hate using this word, but I think it's so true. I think this is freaking underrated as crap, because this was so dang good. I don't hear enough people talking about it. Now granted, I obviously have really random volumes, which is unfortunate. I'm working on that, but I've read the consecutive volumes that I do have, so volumes 1 through 3, and it's so good. It's so dang good, and I need to get more volumes because this series is great. Our main characters here get like this telephone card, and if they use this telephone card, they're transported to this world where they need to basically fight their way out of before they can get back into their present world. So it's a very interesting concept, and I think that it's, again, I think it's so freaking underrated because this is really good, and I am so in need of more volumes because I have been wanting to get back to this for such a long time. There are only 16 volumes of this, so I'm not missing a whole lot, but I'm missing just enough for it to be inconvenient. But Siren's good. Please read it. I freaking love it. Okay, so moving down to the last shelf on the first shelf, I guess, I kind of have my little, like, a Naruto moment, right? I mean, we all know Naruto. I do have some Japanese volumes, though, so I have Japanese volume 2 of Naruto. I don't know why I don't have volume 1, so I'm stuck with Sasuke on the spine. Anyways, and then I also have I think this is like a guidebook for Shippuden. Honestly, I'm not entirely sure. I saw this at Kinokuniya and I'm like, you know what, I'm making a purchase. But getting back to the manga, I have Naruto volumes 1 through 27. This is the first box set. I am planning on collecting the other box sets, obviously, but box set 2 is currently out of stock, so I'm waiting until that box set comes in stock for me to get, obviously, more of this series. The box sets are the only way that I'm collecting this series, unless I find an insane deal somewhere. But Naruto needs no introduction, has a lot of nostalgic value for me, as I think it does for a lot of people. It's freaking good. Highly recommend it. And then moving on, the last manga that I have on this shelf is some assorted volumes of Reborn. Reborn is an older Shonen Jump title that's out of print, and I think it wasn't canceled, but they didn't finish printing it in English, unfortunately. I think there are 16 volumes in English, if I'm remembering correctly. This is a series that I've been wanting to give a try for a while. Truthfully, I haven't gotten into it yet, but I am excited to once I finally do. So I have volumes 1 through 4 and then 8 and 11. Obviously, I'm missing some volumes, but this is a series I'm like taking my time with. I'm not in any rush to just go out and buy like a set online for like $800, right? So when I find volumes for cheap, that's how I'm gonna collect it. So Reborn, again, I haven't gotten into it yet, but I've heard good things. Okay, so next moving on, this is the second shelf, and first up you are greeted by a Guts glass painting. We love Guts in this household, and also a fake plant behind him because I can't keep real ones alive. Anyways, next to it I have the 35th anniversary box set hardcover edition of Akira, and also the Akira Club art book. Akira is a series that I'm currently working my way through. I think I'm on volume 3 currently, if I'm remembering correctly. And if I'm remembering correctly, I hate to say that twice, but I think Akira, I've read it a while ago, but I believe Akira follows a world post-World War III, where there are people, like said person on said cover, who are like kind of alien-like, they have special abilities, and it's just this whole thing, and there's like a lot of politics that go on into this. Again, I haven't gotten back to it in a while, and I honestly don't know why. I definitely am planning on finishing it, because what I have read, I have seriously enjoyed. I will say I think this is the best way to collect Akira. I love these hardback books, and I think they just look so nice on the shelves. The covers are so clean, and also it comes with this really cool, you know, art book, which, why wouldn't you want a fun art book, right? So that is the Akira 35th Anniversary box set. Really good stuff. Okay, so next moving on, I have Golden Kamuy volumes 1 through 23. This is currently up to date. Golden Kamuy is a great seinen. It literally has anything you could want in a series in it. There's cooking, there's action, there's gore, I mean there's literally everything. I've read up to volume 6, I believe. I don't know why, but I kind of read this series at a snail's pace, but I still really enjoy it every time I pick up a volume, so what's wrong with me? I don't know, but Golden Kamuy basically follows our two main characters, Sugimoto and Espira, as they try to find this just mysterious treasure of just a mass amount of gold, and in order to find this gold, they have to collect the prisoners who have the map tattooed on their backs, and they have to, you know, get the prisoners together, or at least get the map together to try and find the location of this gold. This is a great seinen. I think it's a great introduction into the seinen genre, or demographic rather, but Golden Kamuy is a really great read. There are 23 volumes currently released, and I think it's still releasing, but I think it's in the last arc, if I'm remembering correctly, but this is a good read. I need to get back into it. I don't know why it's taken me forever, but this is a good read, and I'm looking forward to getting back into it. Now, okay, before you judge me too hard with all these freaking leaning books, it pains me. I don't know. I need to get like a proper like book stand or something, but it's cramping my, this is just, it's annoying. Anyways, so next to Golden Kamuy, I have Bokurana Hours volumes 1 through 11. This is complete with the ever elusive and ever expensive volume 3, which I was able to find for retail, which the Lord was with me that day. Anyways, Bokurana Hours is honestly one of my favorite reads recently. It's a very, very dark and messed up read, so do just like be aware of that. This story follows our main characters who I think is like 15 kids, or you know, 15 younger kids, as they get trapped into this into signing this contract that they really didn't want to. In this story, Earth is basically getting attacked by these robot villains and like these robot type things, and these kids one by one have to go and control Earth's own robot to fight these other robots in order to save humanity, Earth. You get the idea. This is a really good read. It was a pretty quick read, so it didn't really take a whole lot of time, but I definitely recommend it. Really, really good. Just get on this if you can. Volume 3 though, I wish you luck. And then behind my Doom Guy figure, don't mind him, I have Witch Hat Atelier volumes 1 through 4. I actually got volume 1 in a trade with the Manga Sloth, and I actually really enjoy it. It was a really nice read. Magic and, you know, all that sort of stuff, and the art is also really, really good. I've read volumes 1 and 2, so I need to get back into it, but so far I have been enjoying that read, and you can kind of see the gross tilt that's going on, but I will fix that eventually. And then, as I said, I have my Doom Guy figure in the front. Yeah, he's hanging out. Doom is one of my favorite video games. Okay, so next moving on, I guess first up I have a Kakashi Nendroid. Also, did you guys see they're releasing a new Kakashi Nendroid? Anyways, and then I also have a fake hanging plant, but the goods behind it. I first up have Zom 100 volumes 1 through 3. I actually picked this up recently, and I had so much fun with this read. I will say I think volumes 1 and 2 were stronger than volume 3, but I'm still interested to get the rest of the series and to see where it goes. Zom 100 follows our main character who is basically stuck in a zombie apocalypse, but he's very excited for that because it means that he doesn't have to go to work. It's just a very funny, kind of lighthearted spin on the zombie apocalypse story. I will say these volumes are thin though. Like, what's the status? Why are they so dang thin? But regardless, I did really enjoy this read, and again, I am planning on picking up the rest. And then next to it, I have one of my favorite reads so far this year. I think this is just such a well-done story. That is Hell's Paradise, volumes 1 through 9, currently up to date. I think volume 10 comes out, I think next week, actually. Hell's Paradise follows our main character, who is just a felon. He's a dude who did some bad things, and in attempts to get his freedom, debts wiped clean, he is basically proposed with this offer that if he goes to this mysterious island and retrieves the elixir of life for the authority and the society, all of his debts and all of his, crimes will be wiped clean. However, this island wants to kill them, and there's a whole lot of mystery in this story. Reading as the volumes progressed, it was very interesting to see that mystery kind of unfold. This is a really good read. I think the art is really well done, and I think there are only a couple more volumes coming out, so it's not super long. So if you're looking for a solid title, definitely check out Hell's Paradise. Okay, next moving on, I have To Your Eternity volumes 1 through 14. This is currently up to date. To Your Eternity is honestly a series that took me a little bit to get into. I really didn't like volumes 1, 2, and like the first half of 3. But then the second half of 3 happened, and the rest of the series happened, and it's been really good so far. I'm currently on volume 8, and this story follows our main character, who is able to, transform into things around him that die. So if you're looking to get into this series, just be aware that the covers are mad spoilers. Do not look at the covers if you're wanting to get into the series, I'm not even kidding. This has been a good read, definitely not, my favorite thing ever, but it has been enjoyable, and I am planning on continuing to read the rest. And then next moving on, I have a series that needs absolutely no introduction, and that is Tokyo Ghoul volumes 1 through 14 complete. We all know about Tokyo Ghoul. A lot of you guys ask me if I'm planning on picking up Tokyo Ghoul Re. Honestly, at this point, no, and it's not because I didn't think Tokyo Ghoul is good. I've read all of these and I really like Tokyo Ghoul, but it's, I heard from a lot of people that you pick up Re only if you really like Tokyo Ghoul. I like Tokyo Ghoul, but I don't know if I like Tokyo Ghoul enough. You know what I mean? So, unless I find an insane deal, I know the box set recently came back in stock, but Tokyo Ghoul's, good enough for me. Let's put it that way. But, still really good read, beautiful art. Don't watch the anime, read the manga. Okay, next moving on, the series that's probably going to get me the most heat in this video, and that is Demon Slayer volumes 1 through 23 with the fun little Inosuke Nendroid in the front. Demon Slayer, mid-slayer. I agree. It's not my favorite thing ever, but honestly, sometimes I just need to read where I can kind of turn my brain off and just kind of have fun with it. And that's honestly what this series is for me. It's nothing super intense. I don't have to do calculus to try and understand what's going on. It's just kind of a fun, mindless read. I'm currently on volume 11 or 12, I believe, and I really started actually enjoying it around 9 and 10. I encourage you guys to give it a shot if you haven't already. The anime is also really good. I think, honestly, the anime, if you were anime only, I think you'd be fine. But Demon Slayer is really good. I think the art definitely progresses as well throughout the series, and 23 is done. We're done with Demon Slayer, so good read. Don't hate me, okay? But I would recommend that you guys give it a shot. And the box set is also coming out relatively soon. It might already be out, I'm not entirely sure. So if you're looking to get into the series, go the box set route. So Demon Slayer 1 through 23 complete. Feels good to have it complete as well. Okay, next moving on. First up, I have Jujutsu Kaisen volumes Gojo glass painting. Okay, anyways, Jujutsu Kaisen volumes 0 through 11 currently up to date. You guys kind of know my take on Jujutsu Kaisen. I think it's good, but I don't think it's the best thing ever. Do I think it's a little overhyped? Yes. Anyways, I'm definitely liking it more now that it's in the Shibuya arc. I like kind of the darker direction that it's taking, so I'm gonna keep picking these up, but honestly, I've read past it, I've read it online. It's good, but it's not my favorite shonen title ever. You know what I mean? So, yeah. This series is kind of on thin ice for me. I don't know why, but a lot of people like it, so you should definitely give it a shot if you haven't already. And next to it, I have the only shoujo in my series, Shoujo Lovers. This is for you, and that is Requiem of the Rose King, volumes 1 through 6. Not complete or up to date. I'm definitely missing a lot of volumes. I just really haven't taken much initiative to go out and, get the rest. But Requiem of the Rose King, it's like a Game of Thrones kind of vibe, but with some shoujo in there. You know what I mean? I've read volumes 1 through 3, and I do enjoy the read. I enjoy the read. I enjoy it, okay? We're just gonna leave it at that. I need to get back into it, but, yeah. I think this is the only shoujo in my collection because it's a darker shoujo, and my collection tends to be more seinen, so this kind of works out well. Okay, so moving down here, this is the last shelf on my second shelf, and I have the series that started it all for me, and that is The Promised Neverland Volumes 1 through 20 completed. It's completed now, which is crazy, and I also do have a Volume 1 in Japanese. I just kind of thought that it looked cool. The Promised Neverland, again, is the series that got me into collecting manga. I watched the first season of the anime and needed more, and I'm so glad that I got the manga, because guys, the manga is so much better. I think The Promised Neverland also kind of gets a lot of crap. Listen, okay, part of me gets it, but also, guys, this series was just so unique, and I think it's so freaking good. This is, I mean, honestly, another series that needs no introduction. Season 1 of the anime is good. Season 2 of the anime doesn't exist. So, guys, watch The Promised Neverland, the first season, but read the rest, because I really enjoy it. Okay, next, moving on, I have another slept-on series, and that is The Heroic Legend of Arslan, Volumes 1 through 14, currently up to date. This is actually drawn by the same creator as Full Metal Alchemist, and truthfully, you can tell, like, hello? But I think this story is really good. I mean, it's knights, horses, you know, fighting. I mean, it's everything that you could ask for. So I definitely recommend that you guys give it a shot. I've read only the first couple volumes, and I need to get back into it, but from what I have read so far, I have really enjoyed it. Moving on, I have Radiant Volume 1. This was actually also gifted to me by the Manga Sloth in our exchange. I haven't read this yet, but I'm interested to. If he likes it, I'm sure I will. And then lastly, I have Gigantomaxia, the one-shot done by Kentaro Miura. I bought this to support Kentaro Miura and his family. It was good. I thought it was really good. Definitely doesn't hold, you know, a candle? Is that the right phrase? I'm gonna say it anyways. It definitely doesn't hold a candle up to Berserk, but it was still a really good read. Okay, so moving on to the next shelf. First up, I have one of my favorite figures, and that is the GEM Naruto Sage Mode figure. I'm not entirely sure, you know, what brand or company that is, because again, I do not know figure, you know, information all that well. Anyways, I love Naruto. He's one of my favorite characters, and I knew that I wanted to get a nicer figure of him. I got him actually off of Amazon, which is weird to think about, but he definitely wasn't cheap. But he's really, really good quality, and I really, really like this figure. One of my favorite figures. But anyways, getting on to the manga. Next, I have Vinland Saga Volumes 1 through 11 currently up to date. Vinland Saga is one of my favorite manga series of all time. It's my second favorite, actually. This story basically follows our main character, Thorfinn, as he basically, you know, in the beginning, he goes on a path of revenge. Something happens, and then throughout the story he kind of learns what it means to be a true warrior and kind of find himself as a person. This story, I think, overall is really, really well done. The art is great. The characters are awesome. It has one of my also favorite antagonists in all of manga, Askeladd. He is just such an awesome character. Thorkel's in this too, and he's hilarious. Regardless, Vinland Saga is such a good read. Again, it's my second favorite manga series of all time, so in my opinion, very biased. It's really, really good, and I love these hardback releases by Kodansha, and I believe Volume 12 is coming out relatively soon, so be excited for that. And then finally on this first shelf here, I have Sayuki Volume 1. This was actually another volume that I got from the Manga Sloth in our trade video, collab video that we did. I haven't gotten into it yet, but it seems very interesting, and I'm looking forward to getting into it because I've heard, honestly, really good things, and I do love this cover. Like, I think that just looks so cool. I will say, I don't know why it's not the same height as Vinland Saga. Kind of annoying, but I'm very excited to get into that regardless. Okay, so moving on down to the next shelf, I have Yowamushi Pedal Volumes 1 through 17. This is currently up to date. This series really surprised me. This is honestly, I would say, the first sports manga that I really read, just because I got like the first couple volumes first. I've read a couple volumes in so far. I think I'm on like volume 4 or 5 at this point, and I genuinely love this read. I think it is so well done. The character development, the art, just overall, I mean, this story gets me hype at points like no other series has. Yowamushi Pedal is so freaking good, and I always encourage people to give it a shot and to read it just because I genuinely think that it's really, really good. I will say some of these volumes are out of print, like volume 3 and I believe volume 10 are out of print right now, so just be aware of that, and I think some of the earlier volumes will probably follow suit. So just be aware. But I was lucky enough to find all of the volumes that have been physically printed so far. And then moving on from Yowamushi Pedal, I have Kaiji Volumes 1 and 2. This is just basically a gambling manga. This read is honestly kind of on thin ice for me. And I say that because I really enjoy like the beginning and the end of both of these volumes. Like the middle content where it's just them playing the game, it's honestly can kind of drag on for me personally. So I'm waiting for volume 3 to come out. I have it on pre-order. I think it got pushed back like a couple months though, so that kind of sucks. But I'm waiting for the 3rd volume to come out to really see how I feel about it. But I'm torn on this series. I think it's good and I think you should give it a shot. But it's like almost too big-brained sometimes, you know what I mean? And then next to Kaiji, I have a Sasuke Nendroid. Again, I love Nendroids. Okay, moving on to the next shelf, I first off have Mobile Suit Gundam Thunderbolt Volume 1. This again is another volume that I got from the Manga Sloth, and I haven't gotten into it yet. I tried reading Mobile Suit Gundam The Origin, and I just really didn't like it, so he sent me Thunderbolt because apparently it's really good. So again, I don't really know what to say about this. I hope that I like it. And then next moving on, I have Fire Punch Volumes 1 and then 3 through 8. I'm obviously missing Volume 2, but Volume 2 is actually on the way. I just wasn't able to get in before I wanted to film this video. Fire Punch so far is a very interesting read. I've read Volume 1 and honestly I did really enjoy it. It's done by the same creator as Chainsaw Man and you can honestly really tell. I've heard from a lot of people though that the ending is kind of like eh. So we'll see if I actually like this when I finish it, but I am excited to read on. It's very weird. You either really like this series or you really hate it. And truthfully, so far, I have enjoyed it, so I'm looking forward to getting more into Fire Punch. And then next, moving on, I have a manga series that I love, and that is Beastars Volumes 1 through 13. I read all of these. I read these literally as soon as I get them in the mail just because I enjoy this series so much. Beastars follows this world and society where herbivores and carnivores live together, and obviously there's tension that comes with that. So, very good, very interesting. I love seeing the character development of Legoshi, just really awesome. I will say, these last 2 volumes, I'm like, what is we doing? Like, how is this possible? If you know, you know, but Beastars is really good, and I'm excited to see, you know, where it goes, because I kind of think at this point it's a little bit of like a transitional point in the manga. I haven't like gone past volume 13 yet, so we will see, but so far I am loving Beastars and I am planning on picking up the rest. And then next, moving on, I have Gangsta Volumes 1 through 8. This is a series that I actually picked up a while ago. I've only read the first couple volumes and I haven't gotten back to it yet. I'm not entirely sure why, but I was able to find all of these for a super cheap price, so I just decided to pick them up. I think the art is really good, and so far I am enjoying the story. I just haven't gotten back to it yet in a while, but I am planning to do that soon. And also, lastly, I have a manga series that is very, I would say, off-brand for me, and that is Sweat and Soap Volumes 1 through 8, currently up to date. Okay, listen, you people, before you say anything, Sweat and Soap is so dang cute. I know the premise is kind of weird, but I promise you guys, it's really wholesome and it's really cute. This story is just an adult romance story. I really enjoy it. It's a great change of pace from a lot of the other stuff that I read. So if you haven't given Sweat and Soap a shot yet, I do recommend it, especially if you like, you know, more adult romances. I don't really like, you know, high school and younger romances. That's just kind of weird to me, but Sweat and Soap is really good. Please, just give it a shot. I'm begging you. And there are only, I don't know how many volumes in total there are, but we're getting close to the end, and the last volume was like a nice beach moment. It was so good. So, Sweat and Soap, give it a shot. You might like it. I definitely did. And in front of Sweat and Soap, I have a Naruto Nendroid, and actually this is a real plant, but it's a succulent, so it's hard to kill, so wish this plant luck. Okay, so moving on to the next shelf, I have a series that I have been loving recently, and that is Noragami Stray God, Volumes 1 through 22, currently up to date. This is a great read, and I need more people to read this ASAP. I also heard the anime is really good. I don't watch a whole lot of anime, but I don't doubt it because this series is so freaking good. This series is about our main character, Yato, who is just a stray god. He's a very low-class god, not a lot of respect, You know, they live in this world where there are gods and deities and, you know, rankings of gods, all that sort of stuff. And Yato's goal is to become the most powerful and most well-respected god there is. However, throughout the story, you face a lot of, you know, hindrances to that plan and to his, you know, goal. There's a lot of fighting between gods and other beings. I mean, overall, Noragami is just really, really good. It's very bingeable. I'm currently on volume 12, and I'm currently reading it as well, so Noragami is really, really good, and I highly recommend that you guys pick it up. And I also love these covers. I think they did such a good job. 12 is probably one of my favorite covers, so Noragami Stray God, I really recommend it. It's a really good read. Yeah, so Noragami, good stuff. Give it a shot. Okay, next moving on, I have one of my favorite newer releasing shonens, I guess physically releasing shonens, and that is Chainsaw Man volumes 1 through 6 currently up to date. Chainsaw Man is just a wacky, good read. I love Chainsaw Man. Chainsaw Man follows our main character Denji here on volume 1's spine as he gets transformed into part human, part chainsaw devil, and he goes around and fights other devils. I mean, this is just a really wacky but really good read. Sometimes I read this and I'm like, 1, what's going on? 2, how is this just shonen? Like, it feels like it should be a seinen. And 3, what the heck is going on? I mean, it's just a really good, really gritty read, and I love volume 5's cover. I think it's so beautifully done. So, Chainsaw Man, people, if you haven't gotten on the hype train yet, what are you doing? I will say there is an anime coming out, I believe, relatively soon. I don't entirely remember. I don't watch a lot of anime, but I will be watching that. Next, moving on, I have another one of my newer favorite physically releasing shonens, and that is Mashle, Magic and Muscles. Guys, this is just a freaking fun read. I have volumes 1 and 2, which is currently up to date in the physicals. Mashle, I would describe this as a blatant ripoff of Harry Potter mixed with One Punch Man. It is hilarious. I have not laughed at a manga like the same way that I've laughed at this read. It is so funny. I love our main character Mash here, and I'm so excited to see where this goes. I read both of these, and honestly, if you haven't given this a shot yet and you like Harry Potter and One Punch Man, dude, this is the manga for you. And then finally, we have The Girl from the Other Side, volumes 1 through 10, currently up to date. This is a series, again, I got the first volume from the Manga Sloth, and I surprisingly really enjoyed. I've read up to volume 7, I believe. I heard that volumes 9 and 10 kind of end on cliffhangers, and volume 11 is coming out in November, so I'm kind of hesitant to read on, because, like, I don't want to be stuck on a cliffhanger. But I don't know if you guys have seen the show Over the Garden Wall at all, but Over the Garden Wall and this manga have very similar vibes to me. So I would definitely recommend it. It is by 7C, so it definitely is a pricier title, but I still really enjoyed it, and I'm definitely looking forward to that last volume coming out, I think, in November. Okay, so next moving on to the last shelf on my third shelf, I have Eyeshield 21, volumes 1 through 37, complete. This is a series that I have been working on completing for the longest time. If you know anything about Eyeshield, you would know that the first couple of volumes are very, I think, out of print or just really, really hard to find. So, I was able to find a majority of this set for an insane price at a local comic book shop, and then I was able to fill in the gaps pretty easily, so I am so excited to have this completed. This is a football sports manga. I freaking love football. I'm so excited that, you know, football is back. It was about time. But I've read the first couple volumes and I have really enjoyed it. It's just a really genuinely good sports manga. And I'm, again, so excited to have it completed. And also, I was able to complete it for an insane price, so that always feels good. So, Eyeshield 21 volumes 1 through 37, really happy to have this in my collection. Okay, so moving on to the last tall shelf. Have you made it? How are you guys doing? So first up here, I have Full Metal Alchemist in the Full Metal editions, volumes 1 through 14. This is currently up to date. This needs no introduction. Full Metal Alchemist is such a beautifully done story. It is my third favorite manga series of all time. It's weird giving like numbers, like it's my third one. It's not like my favorite one. No, it's my third favorite one. Full Metal Alchemist is an absolute classic. Everyone knows about it, and if you haven't given it a shot yet, I beg you to read the manga or at least watch the anime. Brotherhood is one of my favorite animes. It's the only anime that almost made me cry, and I don't cry, so that is saying something. This is just genuinely such a good read. I will say I think these Full Metal editions are honestly the way to collect Full Metal Alchemist. It's just a really nice hardback book with really quality pages. Just a really beautiful release of this story, and honestly it deserves this treatment because it's that freaking good. I do also have volume 1 in Japanese and the single. Again, I found it at Kinokuniya, decided to pick it up because I like this story so much. I just like in general seeing manga and their original translations. It's just kind of fun, I think. I don't know, it's just kind of fun. Regardless, Full Metal Alchemist is such a good read and I freaking love it. And then I love it so much that I decided to get a Roy Mustang figure. I forgot what it is from. Is it a Kotobukiya? Yeah, I definitely said that wrong. Regardless, I love this figure. I think that he looks so freaking nice. I'm not gonna lie, he wasn't the cheapest, but you definitely pay for what you get. He is such a high quality figure and is one of my favorite figures in my collection as well. Okay, so next moving down, first up I have a Shikamaru Nendoroid. I love Shikamaru from Naruto. He's so good. Anyways, behind him I have Monster in the Perfect Editions, volumes 1 through 9 complete. I actually just recently was able to complete Monster thanks to one of you guys. Dude, thank you so much for hooking me up with the most hard to find volumes, volume 5 and volume 9. I was missing those volumes for forever and I wasn't able to read on, and I'm so thankful that I have those dang volumes now. So I've read up to volume 4 and I am looking forward to getting back into the series. This story follows our main character Tenma, who is a surgeon, and he actually saved a patient of his who turned out to be a mass murderer and just insane. I mean, it was a whole thing, it was a problem. And he was actually framed for all of those murders. So this story follows our main character trying to clear his name, trying to understand what happened, and there's just a whole lot of mystery. So if you like mystery, you're gonna like this. I think the art is really good. I will say with Urasawa's works, you know, Monster and 20th Century Boys, you kind of need to have your brain on for it. Like, you need to kind of be aware of what's happening because there's a whole lot to put together. But I love Monster. It's so good, and I'm really looking forward to finally finish reading it because I've been waiting on volume 5 for so dang long. Okay, so staying on trend with some Urasawa works, I have 20th Century Boys in the singles, which I think are so beautiful. I'm very biased, but I think they're freaking beautiful. I have volumes 1 through 22 currently. No, it's complete. It's complete. It's not up to date. It's complete. So I have 20th Century Boys in the singles, complete 1 through 22. I don't have 21st Century Boys yet, but that is on the docket of, you know, what I need to get. This is a very interesting read for me. I think, you know, I really like it. I'm currently on volume 5, but I'm reading it at a snail's pace, and I have no idea why. I don't know why. Probably because it's another series that you kind of need to have your mind down for, and I tend to read before bed after a long day. And you know, you get in bed and you're exhausted, and sometimes you just want to read like a sweat and soap, you know what I mean? So I need to get back to this, but from what I have read so far, it is really good. It basically just follows a cult story. Very interesting, very messed up, but very good. And I honestly love the singles. I think they look better than the Perfect Editions in my opinion. Very biased, but in my opinion. I actually also was recently able to find the ever elusive volume 17. This was actually an ex-library copy, and I like fixed it. So it looks actually really good now, and I'm kind of impressed with myself, I'm not gonna lie. Okay, so next moving on, I'm gonna be honest, this is kind of my flex shelf. I hate to flex on y'all, but I have Ultimo volumes 1 through 12. This is complete. Ultimo is a out-of-print manga series. I mean, we all know the deal. The last 4 volumes are the ones that are super hard to find and are very, very expensive. I was able to find this entire set for a great price, so I decided to scoop it up because why the heck not? The reason I picked this up is primarily because of Stan Lee. He was the main, I guess, brain behind the concept for this read, and I really respect Stan Lee and all of his work. So I think it's good. But I don't know if it's worth the last 4-volume price unless you can find it for a good deal like I did. The first 8 are decently easy to be found, but just be aware if you are collecting this series, good luck with the last 4 volumes. Okay, so next moving on, this is my Grail manga series that I finally completed over the summer, and I'm so thankful that I was able to. That is Eden It's an Endless World, volumes 1 through 14, and that's all that was released in English. There actually was 18 volumes in total, but you know what? They just decided to stop printing them in English, because, you know, why the heck not? Eden is a very interesting read. It basically follows a world post-pandemic or during pandemic, which is kind of interesting. It's kind of like, well, is this what our world's gonna come out to? But Eden is a really good read. It's a very dark, Dark Horse series. It's out of print, hard to find. We all know the deal. I was missing volume 8 for the longest time, and then I found it. Had to pay a little bit more than I wanted to for it, but it was worth it because it is now complete. So this has been my grail for the longest time, and having it complete feels genuinely so good. And then next to it, okay, don't call me a poser, I have a Luffy figure. I think it's just a Ben Presto figure. I'm not entirely sure. Again, I don't really know my figures all that well. Before you call me a poser, okay, no, I don't have the One Piece manga, but that's because the box sets are crazy out of stock right now, and that's the only way I'm going to be collecting One Piece. And also, I'm reading One Piece on the app. I'm currently on like chapter 130 or something, so listen, I'm reading it. Don't call me a poser, okay? And then next to it, I just have a little sloth plush. Again, I don't know why he's here, but he's been here since day one, so he deserves a spot. You know what I mean? Okay, so next, moving down, I have Slam Dunk. Okay. I have Slam Dunk volumes 1, 13 through 15, 17 and 18, and then 20 through 29. Slam Dunk is another series that kind of is outside of my consecutive order rule, just because I know I'm gonna like this. So many people have said that it is such an incredible manga series, and people are scalping the crap out of these volumes, so when I find them for good prices and just find them period, I pick them up. So that's kind of the status of Slam Dunk. I haven't gotten into it yet because I definitely want a couple more of those earlier volumes before I can really get a feel for, the series, but I've heard only good things, and I need the rest. So, can we get a reprint, Viz? Can we do that? Because I wanna read this. Okay, next, moving on, very different tone of manga. I have Battle Royale volumes 1 through 15. This is complete. Battle Royale is an out-of-print Tokyo Pop title. Tokyo Pop, bring it back, please. Bring also GTO back. Like, what are you doing? Anyways, Battle Royale is exactly what it sounds like. It's a Battle Royale type story. This actually kind of really defined the Battle Royale genre. I think this was one of the first medias to have a Battle Royale concept. So good, so dark, so messed up, but it's one of my favorites. I don't have any really reasoning. It's not super theological or makes you think. It's just a gory, gritty, fun read, in my opinion. And then next to it, okay, listen, sometimes my shelves don't make sense. I have a Naruto figure, young Naruto. I think this is just another Ben Presto figure. I thought it looked cool, so I bought it. Why is by Battle Royale? I don't know. Don't ask questions. He's hanging out. And moving on to the last shelf, I have light novels. Scary, I know. I have Solo Leveling in the light novels, volumes 1 and 2. I've read 1, and I'm currently halfway through volume 2. I actually prefer the light novels of Solo Leveling. I don't entirely know why. I did have the graphic novels, I guess they're called, for a while, but I decided to sell them because I just preferred the light novels. Really good, kind of RPG leveling up game type manga, or not manga, light novel. And I highly recommend that you guys give it a shot in at least one of the formats. Next to it, I have Parasite, just a classic read. Everyone knows about it. Parasites invade the Earth, but our main character basically teams up with a parasite in a way. Really good. I recommend it. I think the anime is also really, really good. I've read all of these. I mean, it's hard to go wrong with Parasite. Next, moving on, I have Spy Family volumes 1 through 5. This is a really wholesome, really nice, chill read. Everyone knows about Spy Family, needs no introduction, really cute, really good Shonen Jump title, and I'm excited for the next volume to come out. Next to it, I have a manga that I will probably never read, and that's the Kirby manga, and I only bought this because I frickin' love Kirby with every ounce of my persons, and because it had a manga, I needed to buy it. Will I ever read this? Genuinely, probably not. Will I pick up more volumes of this series? Also, no. But it's Kirby, so I couldn't pass it up, okay? Listen, I'm monkey brain, simple-minded, let me live. Okay, next, moving on, I have a volume of manga that literally makes no sense why I have it. I have Record of Ragnarok volume 1 in Japanese. I don't know why the frick I picked this up. I think I was at Kinokuniya and I heard about it and I'm like, oh, that's fun, let's pick it up. Literally getting an English release soon, so again, monkey brain. Don't know why I did that. Next, moving on, I have Die Dark Volumes 1 and 2. This is done by the same creator of Dorohedoro. Really good read. I would really honestly equate this to Space Dorohedoro. Follows our main character Meatball, who has these bones that if people acquire them, they can basically get whatever the heck they want. Very gritty, very dark, very similar vibes to Dorohedoro, but I think in every good way. I will be continuing picking these up because it's a fun read. I do enjoy it. And then the last manga that I have is MPD Psycho Volumes 1 and then 6, 7, 8, and 9. Again, kind of breaks the rule, but that's just because these volumes are so out of print. When I find them for good deals, I pick them up. This is about a detective who has multiple personality disorder. I totally forgot what the actual technical term is, but I read Volume 1, and this series is not for the faint of heart, let's put it that way. It's very interesting, and sometimes it's kind of confusing to read because it's like, you know, who are we reading about? Is it this person or is it a different person? I definitely want to give it a couple more volumes to really kind of determine how I feel about it, but yeah, I'm in no rush to pick these volumes up, again, because they're so expensive, and I'm really just not willing to go out and pay a butt ton of money to finish this series that I'm kind of on the fence about. Did you make it to this portion of the video? Honestly, I'm impressed if you did. So guys, let's kind of go over some, you know, specifications. So if I'm remembering correctly, I have around 570-ish volumes at this point, and I haven't even been collecting for a year yet. It'll be a year in November, so it's been a very eventful, not even full year. A lot of my manga I do buy secondhand, so a lot of this is used, which honestly I kind of prefer doing that because one, you get sales and you get it for discounted prices most of the time, and also some of the volumes you just can't get really new anymore, like Eden, Ultimo. Obviously you can't just go into Barnes & Noble and find those, right? So main stores where I purchase my manga is Mercari, eBay, Amazon, Right Stuff, Barnes & Noble. I mean, literally just about any e-commerce store. Like, even at this point, I think like Walmart and Target has manga now. But I honestly really just get manga from a wide variety of sources, so those are some good sites to check out if you're looking to get some manga yourself. And getting into the specifications of my shelves, I actually got these shelves from Target. I believe they're called the Carson shelves. I'm not gonna lie, they are a good amount of money. I think they run for like $150-ish each, which I realize is a little excessive, but I wanted to invest in really nice shelves that one, I could use, you know, later down in the road for potentially other things, and two, I just really wanted my collection to look nice. Like for me, kind of the aesthetics of it all is a huge part of my collection, so I was willing to definitely spend a little bit more money to get kind of my collection looking the way that it is. A lot of people also ask how I organize my collection, so what I normally tend to do, kind of as I said in the video, I tend to keep kind of like my taller, more deluxe books higher, and then moving down I kind of have my standard size Shonen Jump titles. So kind of like, again, going back, you know, I had my Dark Horse Deluxes at the top, I had my Kira, you know, 35th anniversary box set at the top, and I also had my Full Metal Alchemist Vinland at the top. Again, those are kind of more like deluxe books. And then moving down the shelf, I had my SIGs, and then going into my standard Shonen titles. I'm trying to think of any other questions. I can't really think of any other ones off the top of my head that you guys might ask, but again, feel free to ask me questions in the comments down below. I would love to give you answers, I guess. So guys, that is my manga collection as of September 2021. I genuinely love all of my collection. I'm super, super intentional with what I keep in my collection. Again, thank you, I appreciate it, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.